Are you that guy that plays on stage with your back to the audience the whole time, messing around with the knobs on your amp? If so, you're not alone. See, I never thought I was that guy until I decided to record my entire practice session the other day. And I noticed that the majority of the time I was tweaking my amp settings and messing around with my pedal board and really wasting a lot of precious rehearsal time trying to get the right sound when it really doesn't even matter. Which is really why I quit using pedal boards so much. You know, I got rid of all my pedals at one point because I was spending too much time trying to dial in a sound instead of just, you know, it's so much easier just to plug into an amp and say, this is my tone, here you go. If I need to make any adjustments, I've got two knobs on the guitar and a volume knob. You know, depending on the guitar. I mean, Les Pauls are great. 335s are great because you can really mix and blend, and you know, that's why I love single cut guitars. There's just so many tonal variations you can get right on the guitar. I digress though. So here I am spending the majority of the practice session, I'm sitting there fiddling with my knobs. I wouldn't have realized that if I hadn't decided to record. So let me encourage you to go ahead and record yourself. It takes a lot of courage to record yourself. It takes even more courage to go ahead and watch it or listen after you recorded yourself. I've always heard how good recording yourself can be to analyze your mistakes and progress and to get a better understanding of you know, where your challenges are. But I was always under the assumption that if I were to record myself and then analyze it, that immediately I would realize just how bad I was and just give up, and that would end things really quickly. So for my first, you know, couple dozen times, if not more, I really just recorded myself and I just let it be. I didn't go back over it, analyze it. I just put it out there. If anybody else wanted to watch it, whatever, go ahead and comment. I didn't really care, you know. It was just out there. I had to get used to being behind a camera, because in the beginning my ego was so fragile that, you know, if I were to witness just, you know, some little mistake, if it wasn't absolutely perfect, then oh my goodness, I just couldn't live with myself, you know. So I had to put out a lot of bad stuff, you know, and that's a recurring theme that I would like to cover, is that you have to put out a lot of garbage to get something good. Getting back to the point here, okay, tone doesn't really matter that much. Don't be wasting a lot of time. Don't be like me and waste like an hour and a half of valuable practice and rehearsal time trying to get perfect sound, when at the end of the day it's never going to be perfect. And it was good enough. Several times I'm thinking, okay, it's good enough, and what are you even doing? You're turning knobs and I can't hear it in the recording. I'm like, what am I doing right now? What are you doing, Michael? What are you doing? Quit fiddling with your knobs and play. You know, half the time I couldn't even tell, like, if I was making any difference or not. I'm sure in the moment I was hearing all sorts of differences. But going back over the recording, I couldn't tell. So if you're doing that up on stage, yeah, that's all people are gonna see. You know, like, what's this guy doing? Is he even there? I don't know, he's pushing buttons on his amp. Well, I don't hear any difference. So I don't really know what he's doing that for. So yeah, don't be that guy. And you might not even realize that you're that guy. Like, I didn't even realize. Because you might just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to make a little adjustment. What it sees is this dude up there with his back to the audience. You know, that's all they're going to see. So realize that at the end of the day, tone does matter a little bit, but not as much as actually practicing and playing your parts well and putting on a good performance. So don't get caught up in this whole tone thing. A lot of times you can mess around with, like, you know, amp modelers and multi-effects pedals and spend hours and hours trying to dial in certain sounds. And then at the end of the day, you know, you trade your Strat in for a Les Paul, and now you got to go back and change all that stuff over again, you know? I've been there before. I've wasted hours upon hours messing around with that stuff. That's why I don't have it anymore. Axe Effects, Kemper Profiler, forget it. I don't want nothing to do with those things, you know? If it's got a couple knobs on it, I'm good. But I got to stay away from that stuff, because that can eat up a lot of time, and it can be quite wasteful. So don't get caught up in that trap, and use your time wisely. Use it to practice. Use it to focus on playing your parts well and putting on a good show. And you know, if there's a little bit of time left over, go ahead and dial in your sound, you know, or dial it in at the beginning just enough to get so that you're inspired. When you find a good usable tone that inspires you, you know, call it good. And you know, make it a challenge to yourself not to touch the tone knobs. Don't touch your amp while you're on stage. Once you start playing, don't touch it. You know, that's gonna be my goal next time I rehearse. You know, you do a sound check, go ahead and dial it in real quick. You know, no more than 10-15 minutes tops, and then leave it alone. You know, if you got a sound guy, let him deal with it. You know, and stop wasting so much time chasing tone. But I'm about to go teach my lessons tonight, and I hope that you learned something from this, and maybe you can relate. Maybe you're an amp tweaker. Maybe you'll join me in vowing to tweak a little less and play a little more, because it's not cool, kids. It's not cool to play a show with your back to the audience, fiddling with your knobs. All right, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.